And welcome back, everyone. I'm a day late on the Zanpakuto, I admit. I saw a movie with my girlfriend. I saw Argyle last night with my girlfriend. My full review for that will be up after that. I'm done recording this. Of course, they'll probably all be up at the same time, recording them back to back. I just finished the Who Would Win. And then I got home, and it was still early. I could have done it, but I was just it kind of just blah. I'm like, I just want to kind of relax after that. So I just said, screw it, I'll do it today. And here we are. Coming from Adam Zielk. I believe that's how you say your name. If not, please correct me. I'm going by how I think it's pronounced. Zeke. No, it's not Zeke. Zielk, I want to say. Point being, you asked for the Zanpakuto of Ragna The Bloodedge from Blaze Blue, a game I've never played, but I remembered showing up on Death Battle one point. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And actually, it's showed up twice now, I think about it, in Death Battle. Him and Taukaka. But yeah, and I remember that. I'm like, yeah, okay, he's pretty cool. So let's see what we can do with that. I do recall his backstory. I mean, he was trained, I believe, he was trained by a cat of all things, like a cool, wise martial arts magic cat. And then he's kind of the standard, crude, rude, but good-hearted protagonist. Only to find out he's got a dark secret. He was the Black Beast from all those years ago that caused the destruction. By the way, could you try to rip off Dante's look a little less? Look, he's got a great look. Rodna's got a great look to him. He's great. But white hair, black jacket, black pants, and a big F-off sword. The only thing he's missing is guns. That's the only thing. And maybe he's got a couple extra belts, but I'm like, can you rip off Dante's design more? Or maybe Dante came after him. Full fair. I don't know who came first, Devil May Cry or Blaze Blue. All I do know is this is one of those cases where I actually could adapt certain things about the character's traits or whatever to the Zanpakuto itself. Normally, I'm very adamant that the Zanpakuto is a reflection of the character, of the soul of the person I'm creating it for. And therefore, its abilities do not always correspond to the abilities of said person. For example, I have my book literally right in front of me. Let me throw a random one out here. Madara, for example. Madara Uchiha ability had nothing to do with the Sharingan, had nothing to do with the Susanoo, had nothing to do with that. Another one would be... I don't know. Let me see if I can find a random one here. Well, I mean, Naruto's was another example of that, where Naruto's had wind capabilities, yes, but it didn't create shadow clones or Rasengan or anything like that. So, what did I kind of go with? Well, as always, most of these start out as standard katanas. That's what most Zanpakuto are. Some are actually go into more of a wakizashi form. Others are more like of a tanto. I believe Gin's was a tanto normally. And some are kadachi. Some are super long swords. But, that being said, his is just standard katana. It is, however, more of a Kido type than just a melee with an ability type. There is a straight out ability to this blade that would be considered more closer to Kido than just a passive ability. What the name of the sword? Now, this is very interesting because I actually decided to just take this is one of those times where I just took something from the character and molded it more closer to, say, the Zanpakuto style of Bleach, where his sword, which is called Aramasu, is actually a really good way to kind of give him a sword, like the style sword, because it's a combination of a sword and a scythe. The blade actually kind of juzzens out and turns into a scythe when you activate certain abilities with it. And so I think that would actually be a pretty cool idea, that when he morphs it, it takes the form of his blade. Probably less, looking at the sword in this picture here, maybe just, what's the best way to put it? Design it down a little bit like that. It looks a little too mechanical almost, and to be fair, it kind of is. So I might just simplify the design, make it maybe a little bit more, still have that black part, maybe get rid of the red, or just make the red similar color to this. Make the blade a little bit more pronounced to make sure it looks like a proper blade. And add the blade onto, say, the actual tip of the sword, curving it. You can't see my cursor at all. But you know what I'm saying? If you follow the blade down to the tip and then follow it back over to like the other half of the sword, continue the blade there, so when it actually turns into the scythe, it actually is truly cutting. But Aramasu, I could not find the translation of what Aramasu means. Let me actually find that real quick. Let's see here. Aramasu. Let's see here. Masu? Sword, blaze glue, sword, meaning. All right, what is Aramasu meaning? Let's see. Aramasu. No, it's blood. Okay, it's literally called blood. That's literally translated into blood scythe. Cool, great, wonderful. I thought that was the case, but I wasn't 100% sure. So it is translated into blood scythe. Cool, great. So you basically have blood scythe, and then its Bankai would just be an extension of the truth about his nature, of who he is, and that would be the blood scythe of the Black Beast, or Kuro Nemono no Aramasu. And his spirit would basically be a shadowy humanoid figure with demonic-like tendencies, which is the Black Beast, pretty much. The Black Beast, I think, could act similar to like a Hollow if you were to convert him into a Bleach universe. Something that's kind of gnawing at his psyche, and he's got to try to get it under control. Not that it necessarily does that, but he is able to summon parts of the Black Beast, which kind of leads us into the Zanpakuto. Now, his Zanpakuto does mirror, in some fashion, Alucard's Zanpakuto, where it can manipulate blood, but what it's really manipulating is life energy. When the blade strikes, particularly when it strikes in its scythe form, it actually robs Ryatsu, Reishi, life force. Like, it can literally steal those things and store it within the blade itself. Now, this means that you theoretically, and you can even see like it pulling life energy. Like if it attacks a tree, it will literally just, you can see like the life just absorb out of the tree as it just withers and dies. If someone gets cut by the blade and he swings the blade, even if the blade doesn't hit, if it's coming near an open cut, you'll see blood start to kind of move out of the wound, start to go near the blade because it's being drawn to it. And that's what the Zanpakuto does. It's drawing on life force and life energy. Now, it can to some degree be used for Ragna's benefit. It can heal up his wounds. He can fire it off for like maybe an energy blast from the blade if he really needed to. But what's the best way to put it? I see this more as he's trying to utilize his sword's full power, but he just can't seem to do it. And this is because of the Bankai. I think his Bankai would be very different than other people's Bankais. Because his Bankai doesn't activate with training or anything. It activates when enough energy has finally been stored up in the blade. And unfortunately, I think it's kind of like a forced transformation, where it's like the Black Beast does finally kind of emerge and start to just wreak havoc. Now, unfortunately, because of the nature of this blade, and he becomes the Black Beast, kind of the Kenpachi style where it morphs his body. Now, unfortunately, because of what goes on with this blade and the Zanpakuto and everything, the biggest weakness for this would be it's only lasts a very short time. He can't be the Black Beast for very long, and his body will then revert back to its normal human form. And then the Black Beast can do whatever it does. Breathe fire, energy blast, reishi blast. It's highly strong, highly durable. It's all just going to be dependent on how much life force he's gotten. In theory, if he were to train with this blade longer and master the blade, could he force the Black Beast transformation? Maybe. I think the Black Beast itself, while walking around, also is absorbing life force and strengthening itself. And I think maybe that's actually a better way to look at it, is that the Black Beast kind of becomes a doomsday scenario where it's just sucking out the life force of the entire area. And so while it would deactivate normally, if it's allowed to just keep roaming, it will just keep going until everything is destroyed. Now, maybe he could gain some semblance of control over himself in the form, in theory. But overall, I don't know if that would be possible. This would be a very haphazard Bankai and a very haphazard Zanpakuto, because its ability is not necessarily tied very well, I think, but I think it is tied well enough. This is one of those times where the ability of the character, I think, can translate to their Zanpakuto. So, Yeah, that is my thoughts on the Zanpakuto of Ragna the Bloodedge. What do you think? Do you like this? Do you not like it? Would you do anything differently? And if so, what would you do? I am always open to suggestions. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time. Have a good one.